What is up, Flick fans, and welcome back to my channel. I am joined by Mike Jones, who hasn't been on the channel in a while. We decided to go watch The Mule together, directed by Clint Eastwood. I was excited about it. Mike, how are you doing, man? Were you excited for this movie?
I was excited for this movie because anything by Clint Eastwood is gold, in my opinion.
Yeah.
There's a lot of different interesting things. You see Clint Eastwood's work all over this.
Yeah,
in terms
absolutely.
of in terms of the stylistic choices they go with, and in terms of the way that he directs his actors.
Yes.
And the fact that he'll take the first take that comes in and he'll be like, all right, we're good, let's go on to the next one. If you watch all of his past movies, you will see characters and actors mess up, and it's still relevant in this film.
Yeah.
You see underacting a little bit.
Yes.
And then a little bit of overacting.
Yes.
In some points you see a little bit of overacting.
Absolutely.
But that's just Clint Eastwood's style. He's let's take one shot.
Mm-hmm.
All right, that's good. Let's put that in the movie. That was good. That's good. And instead of just doing the extra take and doing...
Yeah.
Like, I'm not saying he's taking away justice, but I feel like he's giving the actors a little bit more... He's giving them a little more free roam, and like he's getting the raw take on each take, and you can really see that in each one of these movies. And so I love Clint Eastwood from all of his acting stuff. My middle name is Wayne because of John Wayne, of like old westerns. So
Even a reference in this movie to John Wayne.
Yeah. So like all of those taken up, like I love Clint Eastwood. I had to watch this movie. I saw him in another dramatic role pop up on a TV screen. I was like, I have to watch this one.
Yeah, the trailers for me, the marketing to The Mule, still one of my favorite trailers of the last few months. I thought it was phenomenal. And like Mike said, I love Clint Eastwood's films. Now, lately, 15-17 to Paris, we actually watched that together. I didn't love that movie at all. I thought it was a very bad representation of what he represents as a director, but I thought it was a good story to tell, and the directing really wasn't the problem for me.
Yeah.
It was different elements of the film, so we're not going to get into that. We're going to focus on the good of The Mule, because I do think The Mule was actually a reasonable film. I liked it. I enjoyed it. It's not a movie that I'm going to remember in like 2 or 3 months, like, oh, you guys remember The Mule?
Oscar-worthy.
Oscar-worthy
Why
Mule?
wasn't that one for Best Picture?
And you know, it's odd, too, because this release date in early December, you would think that they were going for an Oscar here, but this isn't an Oscar film. And when I saw that they were not putting out any early screenings for critics or anything, I got worried. But now I realize that, you know, the movie's fine. They didn't have faith in the Academy Award portion of the film, but they did have faith that the movie would perform well. And as we saw in that theater, there were a lot of people in that theater. And this movie's audience, I believe, is going to love it. It caters more towards the older crowd.
Audience. I was getting ready to say that.
It does, and I hate to say it like that, but I think that age group, and I'm not trying to be ageist, I think that age group will really, really enjoy this movie. We're not going to do good, bad, and score today. We'll do the score, but I think we should just talk and kind of discuss through this film. And Mike, I want to start with you. What were some things that you just kind of enjoyed? You're walking out thinking, yeah, that was done really well.
Kind of like Clint Eastwood's performance in this was phenomenal. I mean,
It was.
It was phenomenal. He is the only one. Bradley Cooper and Michael Pena's characters. We'll get to them later, but for the most part, those three, even though they're the highest caliber actors in this film, like A-list, if you will, and they did their job well.
They did.
I don't think Cooper's and Pena's characters were fleshed out very well because they didn't really need to be for the story. They were just kind of tag-alongs to move the DEA side of the story along. And but the shining star in this entire movie, of course, is Clint Eastwood and what he's going through and the things that he does. And he's a very peculiar character.
He's got his quirks, man.
He's got his quirks.
Yeah.
I was trying to tell you about the how he's basically an alternate version of Walt from Gran Torino.
Yes, I love that. I love that.
And basically, it's if Walt wasn't a super racist and
slightly racist.
Yeah, it was slightly racist, but he's old. It's okay. He can get away with it.
Yeah, he's an old man.
He's an old man. It just you can tell that this character that Clint Eastwood's playing now is a very he's disorganized in his priorities. He his entire life, as you can tell in the first 10 minutes of the movie, is that he prioritizes work over family.
Yes.
And that's a big theme throughout this entire movie.
They hit that hard.
They hit that really hard.
Yeah. They really do.
So I loved Clint Eastwood's performance, and I thought that it was top-notch, and he did this character a wonderful service.
He makes this movie. He carries it on his back completely, and I think the entire thing ran through him. There were some things that I thought were unnecessary when we're talking about the plot. I think the first 10-15 minutes had a bit too much exposition for me.
Yeah,
it was
they spoon-fed it to you.
They did, and they kind of kept with that theme throughout the film, and the film does feel a bit repetitive. Now, I know that's what the story is. It's Clint Eastwood. He has to go on these drives. He has to do the thing, and then we restart the process, and we do that multiple times throughout the movie, and while each has its own different thing, and I will admit I was slightly entertained throughout each one of them. I didn't have a problem with, the fifth one or the ninth one. I just think the movie felt a bit conventional, a bit repetitive. It doesn't do anything different. If we're talking film-wise or character-wise, it's very straightforward. And if you like a straightforward movie, and if you like a Clint Eastwood film starring Clint Eastwood, not necessarily directed by Clint Eastwood, then I think you'll enjoy this. You'll walk in, you'll have a good time, you'll walk out. You may not remember it in a few weeks, but you will still walk out thoroughly entertained. And I was entertained. Now, I did have some issues, like I said, with the conventionality of the plot, but there were also some issues within some of the acting. I think the family stuff, while it was a very important theme, I think acting-wise and technical-wise, it was the weakest part of the film. Every time we go back to them, it feels like the movie just really slows down. I'm like, let's get back to the drug stuff. Let's get back to the cartel. And speaking of the cartel, I know I'm jumping around, Mike, but that was something that I never got not that I needed a nice bow to wrap it up at the end. Those storylines for me never got closed off at the end like I wanted them to, and I know you had the same problem.
You didn't see the last couple, the last of the cartel character, the main cartel character that Clint Eastwood deals with.
Yes.
That has, it's a very compelling story between the both of them.
And I like that
And I like that
a
part.
lot.
Their chemistry was very well written, very well done, but then that character, the last 30 minutes of the movie, you don't see him at all. He's not there.
And it's not like, oh, we're not spoiling the film. They don't show it. They don't show anything else about that story aspect, and it really kind of upset me because it may have been my favorite part, not acting one, but my favorite part of the movie story-wise.
In a perfect movie, you've got a straight line, and you have all these different stories that are weaving in and out, and then at different times, different parts of the story, and they all, at the very end, they're all converge, and that's the climax of the movie, and then maybe they'll tie up one or two more at the end.
And it may not be the perfect storybook ending, but it still connects.
But with this film, it's you follow Walt the entire time, and then you'll see the cartel only show up when they need to, and you only show the family pop up only when they need to. It's just 100% based around
great explanation.
Yeah, so but then instead of all the ribbons coming in at the end of the bow, you're missing a few pieces. They just and they're gone for the last 30-40 minutes of the movie.
Yeah, that's the ultimate way to put it, because I felt that way about that storyline. I felt a bit about that with the family. Now, they do hit family hard at the end.
Yeah.
I will admit that. But those elements, once again, it just seemed like that was the weakest part of the story, and they kept coming back to it. It's a great theme for his character, but did we need that much? The DEA agents, I really liked Bradley Cooper, and I really liked Michael Pena. The casting, for me, was a bit unnecessary just because they didn't play as important of a role as I thought they should, but they're still really good in the movie, and they do upgrade those parts that otherwise could have been more forgettable. So that's another way to think about it. How did you feel about their characters in general?
I think they had a really good time slot in between the one movie and the next movie.
So
it's like they had a good air. It's like, hey, Bradley Cooper's available. You want Bradley? Let's get Bradley. You know, you do a good job.
Lawrence Fishburne?
Lawrence Fishburne was in this movie. I completely forgot. So like all these like bigger name characters you expect, like we said, like an Oscar type film, but it's
what I wanted going in.
It's what you wanted going in.
It's not an Oscar movie.
I'm glad I saw it, but there were so many little characters that had to be there to complete the story.
Yes.
But it wasn't.
Yeah.
Like their characters weren't necessary.
I know.
You could have kept us in the car with Clint Eastwood's character and him singing old show tunes the entire time. Like there's he does the ballad of Buster Scruggs song, the cool water.
Yes.
He was singing that at the beginning. I leaned over, I was like, hey, that's the song from Buster Scruggs, and Like, so I could have listened to him sing like Sinatra and all this stuff. Is let us follow him around the entire time, just like a camera on him the entire time.
Couldn't agree more.
That's basically what the story was.
Some completely like hilarious scenes that everyone in the theater was laughing out loud. Of course, the audience, and this is built for this audience. It's the people that want to see The Mule starring Clint Eastwood. But I do think it appeals to its audience. I do think it did what it needed to do. Just nothing more, nothing beyond that surface level film that you kind of expect out of The Mule. I just wanted something that was, I don't know, as good as the trailer. It's not as good as the trailer.
I feel like the story itself didn't have enough to make a great film.
Yes.
So the
wasn't
story
rich enough.
Yeah, it wasn't rich enough. There was things that had to go back and forth, but like there just wasn't anything. It's like, hey, I walked down the street, let's make a movie about that. I mean, like, I'm exaggerating, but like it was a very simple story that they kind of dramatized for us. And so it was a good movie. I'm glad I saw it, but
I couldn't agree more. Now, Mike, I'm gonna throw this to you first. What is your score for The Mule? I'm letting you go first. And we're doing percentages.
Percentages, okay. I, based on just the overall feel of the movie and how it's technically beautiful, and I have no problem with the technicalities of the movie.
Good looking.
There's no bad editing. There's no bad audio. There's no bad, like, there's no choppy to it. So on a technical standpoint, it's really good. The story was enough to draw you in, but not really hold on to you. I just give it a solid movie. I'll give it like a 61%.
A 61%. That's a very solid score, and I'm kind of right in the same zone. It's so funny because I was in the 60s. I'm gonna go 63. I'm gonna go a tad bit higher. A movie that I think is worth watching if you love Clint Eastwood, if you're a fan of his films and his style of films. It's a lot better than the 15, 14, whatever it was, 17 to Paris. So if you want to see another good Clint Eastwood movie, go and see it. But it's nothing that I would rush out to the theater and see because I just don't think it's worth that much money. Mike, thanks for joining me today, man. Let the people know if there's anything you got going on or just anything else you want to talk about.
I'm good. I just wanted to watch a movie, and here we are. So,
well, I appreciate Mike for doing this. You're always welcome on this channel. We should go watch more movies together.
Let's do that.
We need to do that because I love having these conversations. Thank you guys for watching this video. It's been a very busy day today. I've released a lot of videos up until this point. Tomorrow is even busier. We have a review for Voltron, the Legendary Defender Season 8, and AQUAMAN. 7 p.m. I will be seeing that movie, so the review should be coming out right after that. You guys are the absolute best, and we'll catch you later.